So some of the math you do in this class is just understanding what we call the order of operations. A lot of times in the real world, we just kind of do one operation at a time and we just move through the problem and solve it. But here, um, if you're moving on to some higher level maths, you may have to set up one massive problem and then the order of operations are used to kind of do the calculations. So there's this phrase when there's multiple operations involved. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So they have this PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. This little acronym is used to help you remember how to perform the order of operations. So remember, when we talk about operations, we're talking about adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing. We also have what's called exponents and radicals, or roots, if you will. And we also have a way to change the operations is use parentheses. So when we do the order of operations, the first thing we actually focus on is the P, which stands for parentheses. So if there's any parentheses in the problem, we have to do what's inside the parentheses, and we have to perform the order of operations inside the parentheses. And to keep it consistent, you can go from left to right in doing that. So start the beginning of the problem and work your way to the end of the problem. E stands for exponents. Exponents, again, are powers or roots, or roots, again, are these little radicals. The ones that you most commonly will see is what's called the square root symbol. Powers are those exponents. We'll talk more about those as we move forward. So M and D stands for multiplying and dividing. So if multiplication and division are in the problem, you have to do those at the same time from left to right. So you do them as they appear in the problem. So you don't go and multiply and then come back and do division. You have to do multiply and divide as they appear in the problem simultaneously. AS stands for adding and subtracting, and they're very similar as well. You have to add and subtract at the same time from left to right. So that's what we call the order of operations. So if I was looking at this problem here, we have 2 times the quantity. And again, I use the word quantity to imply parentheses, 3 squared plus 6. And then we're going to then subtract 50. And then there's this division by 10. So that's our problem. Since there's parentheses present, we have to do what's inside parentheses. So notice how we have an exponent and we also have addition. But notice how we do exponents first and then we do addition next. So when I do this problem, you know, the catches is how we go about doing this. Well, I like to kind of do a lot of this stuff mentally. So 3 squared is 9. 9 plus 6 would be 15. So remember, 3 squared means 3 times 3, which is 9, and 9 plus 6 is 15. So I can actually do that math mentally in my head. Then I have 2 times 15, subtract 50, and then divide by 10. So now what I see is there's 3 actual operations. This parenthesis, since it's next to the 2, that implies multiplication. We have subtraction and we have division. So notice that we have to multiply and divide first. Subtraction comes last. So 2 times 15 would be 30. 50 divided by 10 would be 5. And then the subtraction sign would come down. So the last thing we would do then is 30 minus 5, which would give us then is 25. So 25 would be our answers if we were doing the order of operations. Now, you also, if you're good with calculators, and again, the graphing calculator is a tool that we can use, we can actually type this problem into the calculator. So we can type in the 2, there's a parenthesis, we can go 3, and 3 squared, this x to the 2 is our square button. So if I hit that button there, it'll power up to it. And then if we put plus 6 there, close parenthesis, minus the 50, and then divide by the 10, this calculator is programmed to do the order of operations. So notice that on the calculator, it uses the slash as a division symbol when it goes in. Notice how I hit this division symbol here, but it displays the division as a slash. So that's also another division symbol that we have to come across using this calculator. If I enter, notice how it does give me 25. So we have indeed done the order of operations correctly. So again, the challenge for you is which is quicker, doing it by hand, using paper and pencil, or just typing into a calculator. So those are the options these days.